Това видео достига до вас благодарение на Project Audio Systems, аудиотехника, Sennheiser, Goldring, QED и Q-Acoustics.
Здравейте, приятели, аз съм Дони и днес го продължаваме от Music High-End. Имам честа да говоря с това две личности, които сте виждали много интервюта, много ревюта, но ще са един от хората, които много ревюта са направили и с слушалото с цяло. Това са от headphones.com. Имам честа да говоря с Андрю и с камера. Виждали сте ги много пъти, тъй че продължаваме на английски, тъй като те господата не знаят български, продължаваме на английски. So very much thank you guys first of all for spending the time in our community so we can get lessons. So what did you find interesting here in Munich? What are the things that caught your eye at the current moment?
Or caught our ear?
Or some of them are lifestyle.
So for me, the thing I liked the best from what I hadn't heard yet was the ZMF Caldera closed. I really like that one. I also like the Boca closed. So the two newish. I don't know how new the Boca is, but
not very old.
Not final,
a few months, I think.
But I hadn't heard them, and I quite like them. And they're also being run off the Felix Envies, which is that's a tube amp. I'm not. Taryn has the Envy at the office. I don't get to use it, but I really like that amp. So, what about you?
The IM behind us, the Meze Alba. I'm quite into that. The Hyperman Shangri-La Mini as well. That
really good.
It's a new electrostatic headphone from Hyperman, who obviously they had the Shangri-La, and they've now got one which I don't think they've officially said what the price is, but it's going to be a lot lower, and I was quite into that.
Yeah.
Very interesting fact actually that we are the only company in the world where you can go and have the Shangri-La here with the app and the HU1 in the same room.
Oh nice.
That's fun.
People can compare it, and we have other brands as well, so really interesting. And one thing which I always was curious, and I've never seen it like this, so it changed over time in your videos, but which are your preferred daily headphones and earbuds? Because
it does change. But I would say the one that I always go back to, up until recently, is the HD600 from Sennheiser. It's a good reference point, for. I like things to sound natural and normal, but good, right? That's what I look for in all things, not just headphones. But recently, I think it is going to be. I'm going to replace with the new Focal I can't pronounce the...
Dennis?
Yeah. Adonis?
Very difficult. One of the two, something like that.
Yeah. Well, for me, that one is... it might take the place of the HD600 for me as my regulator. For in-ears, it's the Critical Dusk, the new one, with the DSP cable, because I find I actually do use it with my phone all the time. So,
for me, for over-ear headphones, it's kind of two. The one that I spend the most time with is the ZMF Atrium, just because for me, anything I put on, it sounds good. It's the thing I could just put on, relax, work, that kind of stuff. When I'm wanting to kind of sit down and properly kind of just listen to music, the Hyperman Sasbar. That's for me the sort of most neutral, technical, just overall well-rounded headphone.
A little bit excess 4.3 kilohertz.
A little bit, yeah. There's nothing perfect.
Earpads?
Yes, yeah. Although I've got the old earpads. They changed them at some point, and the new one's kind of a little warmer. I prefer the old ones. But and then for in-ears, I don't use in-ears too much, normally just when I'm out and about. My personal favorite is the Moondrop Kato. I like that. There are other more expensive ones and that I like more, but I don't use them enough to justify them.
So headphones.com is very famous about the measurements and how it's openly sharing that with the community. But when it comes to sound, this is always with subjective, and numbers are not always giving us this data. So how do you test a new pair of headphones? Do you use specific sound or the specific song, or your reference?
I was actually telling him just earlier, even here when I'm walking around listening to things, I have one reference track that for me it's the first test. If just to test if something sounds weird, because if it sounds weird with that reference track, there's going to be a thing, because I know it so well. I know that where things are going to measure and how it's going to be, and then from there I'll go on to if it passes that test, then I'll
track.
It's Change the World by Eric Clapton. Yeah, and if it passes that test, then I'll go on and listen to all my music library. But I know that's the one where it's like, if it's something is not great for me with that one, I won't like it for the rest either, most likely. And then I go and do the measurements, of course, at home when I'm doing the reviews.
We always have to have data behind.
Listen first, then measure. It
Yes.
has to be that way.
Yes, I agree. Aaron?
I follow a similar kind of approach. I have a song, it's City of Sound by Big Wild, which, again, it's a similar kind of thing where it's a song I like, it's a good song, but it also has a lot of different stuff which will just immediately show if there's a particular problem in a headphone. So that's the one that I go to first, listen for 30 seconds or so, and then just play about, not with any particular set of tracks, just depending on what I'm feeling in that moment or what I'm kind of looking for in that headphone to see what kind of characteristics it might have.
I think just to add to that, there's another good example would be Tracy Chapman's Fast Car. They use that as like, if you look at like the spectral, it's very similar to the widest bandwidth of noise that you could hear.
Yep.
And so that's why it's also a good reference track.
Yeah, and another question which I'm quite interested because headphones.com is also reseller and you're making reviews. There was one very interesting review which we made with one of the founders saying like, how do you keep being honest and still sell the product?
Yeah.
Yep.
They are always pushing, the manufacturers always push
Yeah.
sell more. But if the product is not good, how do you keep your chances? Honesty.
Yes, and that's a really good question. So we make a pretty, we're very strict about separating the two sections.
Yes.
So actually we do carry products that many of us have been very critical of.
Yep.
But there's two elements to that, I think. One is that we all have our personal taste, and maybe the thing that I really don't like and I say is really bad, somebody else is bound to like it, right? And so if they want it, they can get it. But the other thing is, for us, the big thing is the long term. So if anybody, we have to be honest, right?
Yes.
If anybody feels that we're not saying it like it is, then our whole concept just breaks. It doesn't work. So it is in our best interest to be just as honest as possible. And then we want to back that up with as much data and measurements as we possibly can. So for us, the whole thing is we want that foundation of objectivism. And then our personal preferences and tastes fall somewhere within that. And we're still able to have a bit of freedom with, what we like.
So, Hi-Fi-Man or Divina is the best one.
Have you seen his review?
Yes, I see.
Yeah, go search Golden Sounds Ordovina review.
Yes,
Yeah, we're like we get paid the same amount no matter what we say.
Yeah,
we get to choose.
Our income's not tied to what we say.
Yeah.
And that's something that really is shown in the videos because it is something really respectful because at the end, numbers matter and they're pushed.
At the end of the day, if you can say that something's great, but if you just keep saying that things are great, then people will stop putting weight behind that.
Yes, exactly.
You have to be balanced and be honest. Otherwise, you'll know that someone's going to say that they like something before they've even made the video. You have to be balanced things.
And that's my advice for actually anybody who wants to get into reviewing.
Yeah.
The best thing you can do is it's not a sales job. You say it like it is.
If you try and treat it like a sales job, then people will not trust you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the final question, can you just, actually have two more. Digital or analog audio source, which one do you prefer?
I mean, given the choice, if there was a reel-to-reel or something, I would pick that. But for the most part, there's not much of it available. So I'm mostly digital.
I'm basically a robot, so for me, digital.
EQ or no EQ?
EQ.
EQ.
It's you.
All right.
Good question.
I've seen your reviews.
Yeah.
So really, thank you for your time, gentlemen. Really appreciate the nice spending with our community. Really appreciate
Cheers.
it.
Thank you.
See you next one. And if you want watch their reviews, they're really worth it and they really bring value. So, I'll be Tony.
Thank you.